We are live. All right. Welcome to the Medium Decision Worksheet. Let me go back, find my screen. Let me double check to make sure that y'all can hear me, see me. All things are a go. Checking my audio. The video looks pretty decent. All right. These are all the things that I check before not just doing any training, but if I'm going live or if I'm getting ready to go on the meeting, I want to make sure everything is at its best capability, right? So I hope this isn't zoomed in too much. If it is, my apologies. I'm getting old, and sometimes I see things a little bit better when the words are a little bit zoomed in and bigger. But yeah, this is Speak University's easy podcast blueprint. And right now, what we're going to do is we're going to go through the worksheet. This is to determine your medium, right? What is a medium? What is the definition? I'm going to look it up and I'm going to give you the exact definition of medium. Bear with me. I had this stuff ready. Medium definition. Okay, simple. Okay, this is a good one. There's a bunch of different ones. I had no idea there were so many. But it is the thing by which or through which something is done. So some definitions or some examples of that definition can be: money is a medium of exchange, meaning it's used to do something. And if we're talking about medium for communication, that's going to be a little bit different. Y'all can't see me. Well, you can see me, but you can't see what I'm looking at. So in communication, a medium is the channel or system used to convey a message. You can see my screen now. Okay, perfect. So it is a medium is the channel or system used to convey a message. It's the way a sender expresses meaning to an audience and can include verbal, written, or nonverbal elements. The chosen medium significantly impacts how the message is received, understood, and acted upon. So if we're talking about podcasting, what does that mean for a podcaster when they're choosing their medium? So I want you to look at it as, we're going back to that definition is, what are we choosing? How are we choosing to send the message that we have to the other person? And in our case, to the other people, to the community that we're building with this easy podcast blueprint. So I want you to think about audio. If you're going to have a podcast or a platform that's audio only, right? That's typically standard. Back in the day, that was the only thing that was considered to be a podcast was audio. It was coming through a different type of medium, and it was just audio. And then you have video only, and that's where you can hear the person. There's an audio component, and there is a video component where you can actually see the person that is sending you this message. And when we're talking about video only, if you look at the second word that's highlighted here, when we're talking about video only, we're not talking about it's just video. There's no audio component. We're saying if you have a YouTube channel, right? You have a YouTube channel, using that YouTube channel, you have maybe content that you're only putting on Facebook, or you're going live with it. on Facebook or LinkedIn or any of those platforms, which I I do not advise that. I think that is one of the worst things that you can do as a brand new podcaster is to do that. In my opinion, you audio is where brand new podcasters should start. But I'm getting a little bit ahead and a little bit behind at the same time. But when we're talking about video, it's just on those platforms, YouTube channel or whatever. Or you can have a combination of both audio and video. That's where you are not only using video to capture your image and your video, and you're putting it on YouTube, Facebook, those different places. But I'll tell you the reason why I'm against that sometimes for new podcasters is because if you're just putting it on video, you're missing a big opportunity, a huge opportunity, because it's been my experience that the audio is where you're able to really own your message. My RSS feed for my podcast, it belongs to me. I can transfer it from place to place, but it belongs to me. If you're making content on YouTube, that content, I'm pretty sure it belongs to YouTube, right? If you're making content for Facebook, that content, it belongs to Facebook, right? And of course, you're putting it on there as your stuff, but they typically they can do anything with it. And the big part about it is that you are a subject to the doggone algorithm. I played the algorithm game, and it is not a game that is worth playing. I'll tell you, you live by the algorithm, you die by the algorithm. It's just like going to a casino, right? You're always betting, you're always trying to figure it out. So go audio. If you're taking this course and you are a freaking beginner, I'm going to tell you to go audio. I'm going to tell you to go audio, because you waste so much time with video. So I'm not going to continue to beat a dead horse, but I want to make sure that this is carefully, there's a careful distinction with those two. Okay. So if we're going with option one, that's you're trying to figure out what type of podcast are you going to have, right? Option one, there's some pros. A lot of the pros I love. Simplicity. It's going to require less equipment and editing compared to video. So when I have just an audio podcast, I'm focused on just the audio. Me, I lean towards the audio. I really care about how I sound, how I look. Sometimes that's not going to come all the way through, but I'm gonna do my best. I'm an audio technician, right? So it's super easy. You don't need a whole bunch of equipment. You don't need to do almost double the editing. You're gonna do double the editing if you're doing video and audio. You might as well just edit audio, right, and do it really simple. There's going to be some videos that I'll show you later on in the modules where we're going to be working with audio, and I'm going to tell you the easiest way to do it. And in my opinion, a lot of these platforms that they have where you can just snip the front and the end, it usually will suffice. But I'll continue here. Accessibility, listeners, they can enjoy the content while they're on the go or doing other tasks. Think about the things that we consume audio only. We live in a world where pretty much everybody is on the go. How many times do you go to your work and everybody is just, relaxing and just sitting down and just not doing nothing and just being? Everybody's doing something. And if you notice, start to look around. If you're listening to this, you're watching this, you're at work, start looking at the people around you. Because somebody always got an earbud in their ear. They're always listening to something. Me, you catch me, I'm listening to meditations, right? So you're basically, you have an audio podcast. You're basically taking them they're taking you everywhere with them. Imagine that. Imagine them listening to you you're while they are walking down the street and enjoying the nature, and they have you in the background narrating them. How freaking cool is that? That is cool. They're not going to be walking down the street looking at YouTube videos. There are some kids that do it. I've seen it. And I mean, hey, I'm not talking to the person that's walking down the street looking at YouTube videos. I tell you that. But it really is going to allow you to focus on the content. And that's the audio quality. That's the storytelling. You see, I just did a little storytelling there. Imagine if you were walking and I was telling you stories. How cool would that be? So that's the pros. Okay. When it comes to the cons, we got limited engagement. There's a lack of visual elements that may reduce engagement for some audiences. There are some people, they'll sit around and they'll look at videos 24/7, right? They'll spend time. I have some amazing people in my life. They send me videos all the time. I don't look at all of them because I don't got time to look at all of them. I'm walking, I'm riding my bike, I'm doing something, I'm working on my business. How incredible is that? Right? But yeah, there's a lack of visual elements for those people that need that. If you got a podcast, you could take, when it's talking about the visual elements, you see these clips, you can still take the audio clips. I still record in StreamYard. I get every video of every podcast that I make. I get the video, but I don't edit the entire video and post it on YouTube. There are some videos that's posted on YouTube, but it's just to steal with the audio behind it. And that gets uploaded to my YouTube. So I don't have to freaking really worry about YouTube. I'm in the algorithm there, right? I'm not wasting a whole bunch of time by doing that. So that's something to think about too. Are you going to go that route? Some cons that we have here, more missed opportunities, cannot leverage visual content or monetization options available with video. You're not going to just blow up you on YouTube by just being audio only on YouTube. It's going to keep you there. I get messages from YouTube all the time where they're saying, congratulations, good job. You're doing an amazing job. You've gotten 14,000 views, right? I write my content when I put it on YouTube through my podcast. I write my content in a way that, people will pick up on it on YouTube. But yeah, there are some monetization that I lose, because if I was focused heavily on podcasts, there could be some sponsorships and stuff like that I can pick up too. But if you've talked to me in the past year, my stance on sponsorships aren't what they used to be. I just fired my last sponsor that's anybody that's outside of my orbit probably about a month ago. They wanted me to do silly stuff like not say certain words like misinformation, or what was the other one? They wanted me to wear a Marine Corps hat because I was a Marine Corps veteran, and they wanted me to wear a hat that was like a part of my new duty uniform. They was going to buy the hat and everything, but they wanted me to wear it. I'm like, no, man, that don't go with my branding. And I realized that, I didn't start my podcast, my business. I didn't start it so that I can do what other people tell me to do. So let them go. So if you're interested on figuring out a way to where you can have your podcast as a business, some of the things that I said, if that's what you love, that's what you want to do, reach out to me. There are some amazing ways. I do have a program for that. That is the Experts Blueprint, where I walk you through how to connect your podcast so that you're actually making a living out of doing something that brings you joy. And that's you using your voice to connect to other people, right? How about that? I think that's incredible. So, so think about this. An audio only an audio only podcast suitable for your goal? Is that something that you want to do? If it is, circle this right in below. Why or why not? So that's what you're thinking about. If you're going to go with podcasts only, then there's really no reason for why you should go for option two. But I do want you to be more informed so that you can know what's ahead. Again, the pros with a video only podcast, you're not really doubling down on the audio, which in my opinion, you'd be a fool not to. I'll show you how to, if you want to go video only, reach out to me, however we're connected, if it's in the community, and ask me some questions about, different ways that you could use your video only podcast. There are some really cool different ways that you can go when using your podcast. But the visual elements, they can increase viewer engagement and connection. That's a really good one. Additional monetization opportunities for ad revenue, sponsor content, and product placement. I mean, that's really cool when you got some podcasts to where they just set it and forget it. All they do is push a button, kind of like here. I'll push an ad, and all I got to do is interject that into my podcast, and I can make some extra, a little to medium to large amount of money, right? But all I got to do is hit this. Let's see.
Imagine having a virtual team that works tirelessly to bring your ideas to life. Introducing Simply Edit Pro's AI avatar content services. From training videos to branded social media content, monetized courses, Simply Edit Pro's AI avatars are transforming the way content is created. What used to take months can now be done in a matter of weeks with Simply Edit Pro. Imagine having a year's worth of highly intentional content ready. All
right, you get my point. That's Simply Edit Pro, right? So I can just hit a button and a commercial will come in. I can hit this one.
Are you a podcaster looking to take your show to the next level? Want your audio to shine like never before?
All right, that's something else I can throw in there. But all you're doing is pushing the button, and you're making 200, 500, 1,000. There's some podcasts where they're making $20,000 to $30,000 just for ads in the middle of their podcasts. I mean, what's wrong with making additional money? I think that's something cool. I don't think it's a sustainable business model because you're basically relegated to pretty much working with them. Why did you start this if you're going to work for them? But you get my point. I think I'm freaking killing that point to death. But diversified content, you could repurpose the video content for social media platforms and marketing. You could use that for ads. There's a bunch of different things that you could use it for your own ads. You can use it for ads for other people. You can make content, put it on LinkedIn. You can boost that content. You boost that content, and it's going to show other people that are in that are your avatar, people that you want to sell to, people that want you to sell to them, people that want and are looking for you right now. So that's something to think about. You can use that content for, oh man, so much. So when it comes to the cons, my hands are just doing weird stuff. When it comes to the cons, you have higher production requirements. It's going to require more equipment. It's going to require you to do some more editing. And I mean, it's a lot compared to the audio. I already talked about that, but I mean, you're going to have a pretty decent camera, which there's some cameras out there that you can pay $150 and they look pretty good. But then there's some cameras out there where you can pay $500 and look really good. But it's a game, it's a game. I'll tell you right now, I choose to do the course this way, kind of talking to you like I'm on a Zoom, because I went that route and did high production with stuff. And I just, doubling down on video, I really didn't have time to do anything else. So that's something to think about. Increased bandwidth and storage. I didn't really care about, video files and sizes and stuff like that until I became a podcaster. And, once we hit 100 and something episodes, I'm like, whoa, where do I put all of this data? Because, I know I'm not going to use it. Am I hoarded it? What do I do with it? All the old episodes, but you have to keep that stuff. And those files, they really add up. So that's something for you to think about. Visual quality expectations. How many of you, when you see a video and you see the video lacks quality, that you're like, oh, you turn into like a snot. Oh, look at this. I can't believe they would put this out there looking like this. I mean, the content could be freaking amazing, but the video quality can suck. I'm one of those people. I'll admit, I don't want to watch something that is going to make my eyes all messed up. It reminds me of when I was a kid, all the channels that was like HBO and Showtime, the channels that we didn't have on our cable box that we couldn't see. I would have to it would be scrambled. I would have to look into between the scrambles to watch movies and stuff, right? How freaking lame is that? That's not enjoyable. Having a messed up signal. So, if you don't have the camera, you don't have the knowledge, you don't have the wherewithal to put that stuff together, then don't do it. Don't do it. Or you can start with something really simple. If you're looking at my camera, you're like, oh, that looks like a pretty decent camera. You can go to Amazon and get that. That's going to be in another module, probably a few modules ahead while taking through some of the equipment that I have. But it's a Nexico, it's 4K. I can do some really cool stuff with it. I don't have my remote, but I can zoom in, I can zoom out. I can just get this frame right here that I'm in, which is really cool. This frame, it looks a lot like my studio looked before, where I had the foam on the wall, I had lights going, and it looked pretty free. It was a pretty cool setup. But then one day I was looking and I was like, man, I can do the exact same thing at home. All I got to do is take a board, slide it into here, take one of my banners, put it up. And I mean, it looks okay. I mean, I'm not, and that's the thing. I am not worried about putting a whole bunch of quality time and effort into the video. So I don't promote video first, right? I'll promote maybe a quote. I'll promote the video. I'll promote small little snippets and then share the podcast with these small snippets to kind of draw them in. But I'm not going freaking crazy on it either. The actual content is pretty freaking good, but I'm not paying thousands of dollars on that, and neither should you. So think about that. So here, same thing, is this option suitable for your podcast? Make a decision here. Yes or no. Which one are you going to put? I'm going to fill this out for you. I'm going to say no. I am biased. I do realize that. I know some of y'all are probably like, dang, will you give the video a little bit more love, or you've heard some really good stories? Man, yeah, I apologize. I'm biased. But that's why you chose to rock with me, right? So option 3, this is audio and video. I think this pretty much goes without saying. You're going to do double the work when it comes to audio and video, because you got to do there's an audio component, there's a video component. But the appeal to this, one of the pros, the appeal to this is both auditory and visual learners will be able to consume your content. That's going to give you maximum audience reach. Imagine people being listening to your podcast, and once they get done listening to it, they want to see it, right? I've done that before with some of the guests that Joe Rogan had on his podcast, or even Mike Tyson. When Mike Tyson had his podcast, I would want to see it, because they were like, oh my God, Mike's looking at him. Mike's about to kill him. I wanted to see that, so that's going to be really cool. That's going to really maximize your reach. If you want more engagement, if that's what you're after, it's going to give you that. It's going to provide options for audience members to consume your content in their preferred format. So you'll have option A forum, you'll have option B forum. option A for them, option B for them. If they are audio only, then they'll listen to you on Spotify or even Spotify got video now, but they'll listen to you on Spotify or Apple, Deezer. I said Deezer, Amazon, wherever they consume that content. But if they're like a YouTube or Facebook or whatever, they're going to go and they're going to look at your videos there. So that's something to think about. Audio and video only podcast, a monetization opportunity. You get to combine that, combine the advantages of both audio and video platforms, revenue generation. So if you're making content, putting that content on Facebook, Facebook will pay a lot of people. Well, Facebook pays a lot of people that put their content on there. YouTube will pay you to put your content on YouTube. There's people getting monetized on TikTok. There's people getting monetized on all those different places. I definitely wouldn't put a podcast on TikTok, or have a podcast only on Facebook either. YouTube, a lot of people use YouTube, but this is not this course that you got is not a YouTube type of situation. But if you got some questions, please feel free to reach out to me. I definitely can support you. You can go to my podcast, Leaders Lead the Podcast. I can't imagine which episode, but it was the episode where I had Evan Carmichael on, and he did such a freaking killer job. I cannot believe the job that he did in teaching me not only the value of having a YouTube, but showing me different strategies that I never even thought about. So there's a great deal of information. So go and check that out. Some of the cons, we talked about that, higher production. People are going to want the best when they're looking at that stuff. You're going to try to give them the best because that's who you are, and that's how you roll. But you're going to have to pay for additional equipment. You're going to have to edit that stuff, which that is not fun. I hate editing videos, and coordination compared to single medium podcast. So you're going to freaking be paying for maybe 2 different platforms or however it goes, but it's going to be double the work. Again, resource intensity, increased bandwidth, storage, got to pay for hosting. You're going to have to pay for distribution for both. If that's the case, that could happen. We have to pay for both. Free options ain't really free, to be completely honest. They nickel and dime you. So I wouldn't, if there's a platform where you're hosting stuff, where you're distributing your video and audio files, there's going to be a fee for it. I use podcast.co, and that is something that's another couple modules away, but that's what I use to distribute. I think it's like $15 a month, but it's definitely worth it. It gets my podcast to every major streaming podcasting network, and some they don't even list that but it's there, right? So yeah, so if you want to have a video and audio podcast together, then that's what I want you to do. Just click yes. All right, I'm not going to fix this strikeout, but yes, you want yes. So here are some considerations for the final decision in your blueprints. Content goals. I want you to be thinking about the type of content you plan to produce. What did you have in your head when you were making this dream into a reality? If you have video in your head, I don't want you to change your mind on that. I want you to go with whatever your heart was set on, right? But think about how you're going to plan to produce it and how that aligns with each medium. Audience preferences. I want you to consider your target audience preferences for consuming content. For me, again, I'm an audio type of dude. A lot of the people that listen to my podcast, they listen to my podcast as an audio version, even more than they would just watching me. Even when I was doing my podcast live, I noticed that the audio really was bumping. But again, that's something that I was heavily promoting too. Let me see how long I've been going with this video. All right, cool. We're only at 30 minutes. I just want to make sure that I'm not taking a whole bunch of time, because I know sometimes I can go on a tangent. I don't feel bad because we're only at the 30-minute mark. But again, this is just like if you were sitting in a classroom with me, you're getting that, and also you're getting me as your coach. So there's going to be some things that's going to come out, and I have to let you know. I have to give you those obstacles. So this is, I have to tell you about those obstacles. So this is my blueprint that, I have big dreams, big hopes, and big admirations that once you take this, you do something incredible with your podcast, that you are a part of something that's changing this world going further. Like, so yeah, I just had to let you know that. I'm really rooting for your success, and it means an incredible amount to me. So if you're experiencing some success, getting some wins from you consuming this content inside this course, please let me know. It would really help me on my journey. It would give me the confidence to keep doing this. I'm really excited about the things that you can do with podcasting, and I'm really stepping forward and giving you all every single thing that I have, every single thing that I can think of. So back to this, consider your target audience's preferences for consuming content. That's where we left off at. But where are they listening to your podcast? Where are the people that are going to listen to you? Where they most likely going to be, right? Resources and capabilities. Look at your resources, look at your equipment, look at your production capabilities, and one of the most important parts. I'm gonna write this. Look at your doggone bank account. Let me look at your bank account. Did I spell that right? Bank account. Yeah. Look at your bank account. Don't go in debt trying to do all of this stuff for your podcasting. That don't last for a couple months. Don't go in debt. I know a lot of people that put so much money into their podcasting because they wanted it to be perfect, video and audio. They wanted everything to be perfect. And it became such a chore, such a burnout for them, and they stopped doing it. I don't want that to be you. I want you to keep this thing simple. I want you to mind your means. Don't go broke trying to build a podcast because you don't need to. You could take just your phone, literally, you could take just your phone and record something that will not only change your life, but put you in a position to change somebody else's life. So I don't want you to take that lightly. Look at your bank account. Can you afford it? Don't go crazy spending them credit cards, right? Another consideration is the monetization strategy. Evaluate potential monetization options and how they align with each medium. So just look at what's going to fit you the best, right? So below here, you're going to choose your podcast medium that best aligns with your content and goals, audience preferences, and sources. So right here, this is me filling this out. I would put, I am going all in on audio, baby. That is an example. All right. So based on, so that's what you're choosing, right? Based on the considerations outlined above, the recommendation podcast medium for your show this is going to be your final decision. So you're going to highlight, you're going to go in, you're going to highlight audio, video, or both, or you can circle it. You can do whatever you want. This decision aligns with your content goals. You can raise your hand. This decision aligns with your content goals, audience preferences, available resources, and monetization strategy. By selecting this medium, you can effectively deliver compelling and engaging content to your target audience while maximizing the potential for growth and success in podcasting landscape, the podcasting landscape, and according to your needs. So this is going to align with your content goals, your audience preference, and available resources, and your monetization strategy. That plan up there, that's how important this is, because I'm not trying to be dramatic, but you are going to want to start doing all the other cool things that everybody else is doing. And if you made that decision for it to be audio only, then then you go with that decision. If you think about changing it, I want you to look at your content goals, audience preferences, your available resources, your bank account, and the monetization strategy. If it's gonna make you money, it's gonna put money in your bank account. There's no need in talking about something that don't align with your goals or jump into something. So think about that when you're making this decision. All right. I'm super excited that you took this step. You chose your medium, right? You know what direction you're going to go. You're going to either go audio, video, or you're going to go both. I want you to think about below, how did that make you feel making that decision? I want you to think about you doing and going on your journey to be the amazing podcaster you are. I want you to think about all the lives that you're going to touch. Start journal about that down below. Who are you going to support on this journey? If you need to take this and write on the back of it or write on another sheet of paper, journal it. Who are you going to support on this journey? And for this, what I want you to do for this form, you could delete these, you could print it out or delete these, or you could just print it out and write in them. Your next Q&A session that you have with me that you've scheduled, you got on my calendar, I want you to think about some things that are still sticking out to you. But what if this, Tony? What if that, Tony? There's got to be something that's lingering in your head when it comes to this journey that you're on, right? That was a lot. And my hope is that it supported you. You felt that you got some good direction in where you're going to determine your podcast medium. If you did not get some direction, if I went too fast, I went too slow, you speed it up or slow it down. But most of all, reach out, right? Reach out so you can get some help. I don't want this to stop you on your journey. I don't want a miscommunication to have you have some lingering questions and you don't start this thing that I truly believe changed my life. It definitely changed the trajectory of my life, podcasting. So yeah, so leave me a message. However we're connected, I will let you know where to go from there. Maybe as a community, I might have the answer right there for you. Maybe it's a phone call. We can jump on the call and we can sort it out. So until then, until the next module, be working on this, all the stuff that we talked about, thinking about, what is that going to look like? How do you want it to sound? Do a little journaling about that. Ask some questions about that. So I'll see you later. And thank you for joining me while we talk about your podcast medium and making a very, very big, but now simple decision. All right. Take care, my friends.